Okay, now we have the Reface CS, which is a virtual analog synthesizer.
Yeah, virtual analog and even a little bit more. You know, we started making the CS series back in the mid-'70s. CS, stands for Control Synthesizer, and a lot of people remember the CS-80. That's kind of the classic instrument used by Vangelis and Toto, Michael Jackson, a lot of different guys, Stevie Wonder, use that instrument. And it's a classic Yamaha instrument. And we had other control synthesizers, and in the mid-'90s we released an instrument called the AN1X, which was kind of a virtual analog synthesizer.
Great sound.
Yeah, great sound. This is similar, but a little bit, there are a few different things with it. The really, the heart of the instrument is kind of in the middle with the oscillator section. You have these 5 different wave types, so you have sawtooth here, you have pulse. This one is called pulse width modulation, and I'll explain why in a second. This one is ring mod, and then this one is FM. And as you dial through these 2 sliders to the right of it, texture and mod, will do different things depending on where you're at. So, for example, if I'm on the saw, this is just pretty basic synth sound, and I bring up texture, I get a sub-oscillator. That's something the CS-80 was kind of famous for, adding in that sub-oscillator. That's what gave
body.
It gave it that body, so you can dial that in. Oh, and here's another thing that's kind of cool. I can play 8 notes with this. So it's not just a mono synth, it's actually a polyphonic instrument. If I want it to be mono, I can, just by...
Slider is also your portamento slider.
Exactly.
So you engage monophonic mode, and then you have from no portamento to a very long glide time.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool. It's a very easy way to get a lot of control in a small space. So going back to this, I have a sub oscillator. If I go to mod on the saw, I kind of get I get this super saw, this big detune sound, which is great for things like, instant pad or string type things, and these can be modulated with the LFO section. So if I want to modulate one of these things, for example, I can modulate the oscillator. I can modulate the pitch, filter, with resonance, amp. So it's super easy to put together a sound. Going through this.
It sounds fat too.
Yeah,
it sounds very good.
Well, these two faders on stump. It's a pretty big. It's a pretty big sounding, sawtooth, big gigantic saw. One of the really cool things is if you go up here to the FM section. So that's very basic sine wave type thing, but as you invoke the texture. So you go from super mellow sine wave to these really buzzy, brilliant, cutting tones, and then you add this guy in.
You get some of those really crazier tones you could have gotten out of a DX7.
Right.
Yeah.
Even up all the way top, you actually get noise going.
Yep.
The sideband, they flow back.
Those noise frequencies. Yeah.
So just as a sound design tool, there's a lot of exploration you can do with just these 3 little sliders in the oscillator section. It's really pretty cool.
Very quickly, you can also dial up like really nice warm leads and pads and
leads and pads. I didn't even really get into the effects section, but there's a full effects section with distortion, modulation effects, delay. Ready for our 50s sci-fi here, right? Almost like these bell-like tones you can get. And that's something that analog isn't, really known for. That's more of a digital type thing. So,
and then also from an iOS app, you can send us patch changes.
Sure, the same app we were using with the CP works with the CS, the CP, the YC.
Because we want to point out that these don't have internal patch memory.
Right. The panel is the sound. You know, it's what we call.
You can send it instantaneous patch changes from your librarian app, and it is therefore combined with an iPhone or an iPad. It is as if you had patch memory.
Right. Think of this as your ROM cartridge from RAM cartridge from days gone by. Yeah. And we'll have one more thing we show you that takes that to the next level. But,
right.
that's the Reface CS.